Hey guys, it's Kristy mysticwater. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, but life got in the way, so you get it now. This video is going to be about modeling and the industry both in Vancouver and Tokyo, and just my experiences being a talent in Japan and then also a model slash actress here in Vancouver. There's actually quite a bit of differences between the two industries, although there's a lot of crossovers of what you should expect, and I'm going to go over some of the questions I've been receiving. I've had people email me and comment on my videos asking me questions of this sort of nature, so I thought I'd go ahead and answer these questions for everybody that's been asking about being a model. The first question is, how did you become a model? I started modeling about 5 to 6 years ago now, and I was dating a different guy at the time, and his friend was a photographer, and he introduced me to the website Model Mayhem. Now, Model Mayhem is a website that's used for connecting photographers, makeup artists, models, both male and female models, actors, just all sorts of talent, including stylists and hair design, and it's a great website to connect and collaborate with people. Without Model Mayhem, I would not be where I am today. So I'm going to leave a link in the description box below, and you can follow. It's pretty simple, modelmayhem.com. It's free to sign up, but I personally choose the VIP option just because I have so many photos, so many photo shoots, and this is essentially my career right now. So I just started off really basic. I had no clue. I've had no training ever. All the training I've had has been on the photo shoot set. I originally wanted to be a model because of my self-esteem or lack thereof. I was bullied often in high school and elementary school, so it was kind of like a vindicating output of my creative process. It's very vindicating to be like, hey, I am beautiful on the inside as I am on the outside. I can show off my talents this way. Little too personal, but okay. Do you have any advice for newcomers to the industry? As I said before, Model Mayhem. That is 100% the best way, especially in the Vancouver area, that is the best way to get your foot out there, and connecting with photographers is really important. You have to know who you're working with. Do your research. Like, don't go in blind. Watch America's Top Model if you have to. Do your own research. What you feel most comfortable suits you. There are several different types of models. I consider myself the chameleon type because I can do almost any type of photo shoot. I prefer the creative process, but I can do beauty, I can do glamour, I can do boudoir, I can do lifestyle. It all depends on you and your personal feelings about how much skin you want to show, or what type of mood or theme you want to go with photo shooting. So it all comes down to you and what you feel most comfortable doing. Not everybody's gonna like being in lingerie and pin-up type shoots. Not everybody's comfortable with that, and that's okay. As for Japan, being a newcomer in the industry there myself, I've only been in the industry there for about 13 months. And I have to say, it's a big change going from Vancouver to Tokyo. I recommend learning the language a bit. Obviously, I've had 10 years experience just self-taught, no schooling, but I highly recommend you at least learn some basics of Japanese to get you from point A to point B. Also, don't go in blind, like the same as the industry. Say, you might not even be in Vancouver, you might be in America. Learn the industry locally before you attempt to infiltrate the industry abroad, because it's quite a big undertaking, as I learned rather quickly. I found all my freelance agencies here in Vancouver 2 weeks prior to flying out to Japan. So all of my research was done essentially that elementary school bell that I used to go to. Anyway, for at least 2 to 3 weeks before I flew out, I had all the information, and I actually sent out emails to these agencies saying, hey, are you just, oh my god, my cat, sorry. I actually emailed all of these agencies that I've researched, and I had to make sure they were current. I had to make sure they're still accepting new faces, new talent, new models, new actors. So yeah, and I made sure I printed all of my materials, all of their addresses I had printed out. I had my own portfolio and resumes printed out everything was ready to take with me so I could go the moment I landed in Tokyo, which is what I did. The next question is, do you get paid? This is a hard question because in Tokyo, 100%, I'd say, yeah, 100% I got paid for every gig, every acting gig, modeling, TV, music video, everything is paid in Tokyo. Especially when you're a gaijin, or someone that looks like a gaijin, which is someone that's clearly not Japanese is considered a gaijin. I'm clearly not Japanese. I'm 100% European. Totally off topic. Anyway, do you get paid is the question. Cleo? You're driving me crazy. I'm trying to do a video. Can't I do a video? Go away. Now, in Vancouver, you can get paid, especially if you're doing background acting, because you'll be going through an actual registered agency / firm that will get you the work. I'm currently signed with store management here locally, and that's for all my auditions, but that's all acting. As far as modeling in Vancouver, I'd say 90% of it is free. Trade for work. It's called the TFP trade system, the trade for photos, or trade for time, or trade for print. It's basically you're trading your services, so no money is ever exchanged. I don't pay the photographer for my photo shoot, and he doesn't pay me for being in the photo shoot. And makeup artists get the shitty deal too. They don't get paid. Sometimes they'll get a kit fee if they're lucky. But here in Vancouver, unfortunately, most of the work is trade for time or trade for photos. That's just how the industry is set up here. It's unfortunate. Unless you, of course, are tall and signed with an agency, you won't be getting any print catalog work here. Especially for me, I'm a short model. I'm 5'3", 5'4", and to even be considered being signed locally with a local agency, you have to be at least 5'8" or 5'9", at least. And I'm nowhere near that. So my way of dealing with the height restrictions was go to Japan, and that won't matter because I'm a gaijin and I can get work no matter what. It's unfortunate, but that's just how the two systems work. What are the ups and downs of being a model abroad? Well, the ups is you get paid over there. Another good thing about being a model abroad was meeting all the celebrities over there, meeting all the comedians, the talented musicians, the actors, the actresses, other models, other foreign talent. I got to meet so many wonderful people, and I loved every moment of being in the industry in Tokyo. I got to work with one of my favorite comedians, Koyabu, and that was great on NHK's Kisuego, and I feel like that was probably my defining moment in Tokyo when I got that role. As far as the downs of being a model abroad, there's many. The first one being about individuality versus the culture. And for someone like me who's very creative and is used to being outspoken and is used to dyeing her hair crazy colors, I had one incident stick out, especially one incident stick out in mind for me, and that was what I will call the Gaga incident. And I'm not going to name the agency, but I'll just say that I went in for an audition at this agency. I sat down, showed her my model book, which is all my printed out portfolio, pictures, and resume. I had a lot of boudoir. I had some more creative themed type photo shoots. There was one in particular where it was like an anti-drug and alcohol overdose awareness campaign, where there's a photo of me on the bathroom floor with pills everywhere and alcohol, and I looked to be passed out in the bathroom floor. And it wasn't to like glamorize drugs and alcohol, it was more of an awareness project at the time. But I was really proud of that photo. It was just, I was wearing a wig, it was well done, it didn't look like me, and I was proud of it. And she stops at this photo and she's like, "Do you know Lady Gaga?" And I'm thinking to myself, oh, here it comes. I get referred to Lady Gaga often when I was living in Tokyo, just because I had the half blonde and the half brown hair, which is one of her styles. And so I'm thinking, oh gosh, here comes, yeah, another Lady Gaga reference. So I'm like, yeah, of course I know Lady Gaga. I love her. And she's like, yeah, you look like her. I'm like, oh, thanks. She's like, no, she's evil. Lady Gaga's evil. This is all slutty, like prostitute, and she just went through my entire portfolio book, all of my greatest accomplishments, which I thought I should have been proud of these photos. She just ripped them to shreds, told me that Lady Gaga was evil, which, first of all, I fucking love Lady Gaga. She's my idol. But it's the culture. And for me to sit there and be torn apart so badly, I left there in tears. I left there crying. It was the worst moment in my Tokyo life. I was so devastated because my ego had such control over my love of my hair and my individuality, and I had to learn to really let go of that ego because it was such a defining moment for me. Especially when she mentioned my hair, my half blonde, half brown hair. She's like, if you ever want a chance in this industry, you have to have either all brown or all blonde. You can't do this crazy stuff with your hair. You look evil, you look ridiculous, it's not sexy, blah, blah, blah. And I had a big ego back when I was in Tokyo. I will not deny that. I thought I was untouchable. I thought I was unbreakable almost. And she broke me pretty hard. With Japan and the culture of group and not being a pain in the butt for people, and just the group mentality is so strong in Japan, and my individuality just screamed at them. Of course there's gonna be haters. Of course there's gonna be people like, what the fuck is wrong with this gaijin? Like, of course. But I was so full of my own ego and be like, no, I love my hair. I'm never gonna change this hair. And looking back on it, I really wish I just swallowed the pill and gone back to either blonde or brown. I really wish I had, because I feel like if I had listened to her, and it wasn't that I was listening to everything she's saying about me. I know she's wrong. I still know she's wrong. But if I'd listened to that one piece of advice about my hair, I feel like I could have gotten a lot more work. In hindsight, I realized she was right. I could have gotten a lot more work. It was because of my half blonde, half brown hair that I was rejected so many times from TV shows and music videos, just because it's not natural. It's not a natural look. That was a hard pill to swallow. Like, that really woke me up about humility and not taking everything to heart that someone says, but still being able to be present enough to know when they're saying something that has value. And she bombarded me with all this mean negativity that I couldn't see that one piece of invaluable information she had given me. And I do regret that. So that would be my lowest point of being a model abroad, is dealing with my individuality over there. Next question. Was it hard to communicate? As I stated before, I have been learning the language for about 10 years or so, give or take. All self-taught, no proper writing or reading comprehension. It's all self-taught. But when I first moved there, my listening was probably really, really good. But it was my speaking ability and my ability to answer questions that drove me nuts. I could not, for the life of me, answer a question. Even though I knew how to answer it in English, I just couldn't put it together into words in Japanese. So even though I'm understanding questions and conversation around me, I can't put out my own thoughts. And it was really frustrating. You feel almost like you're mute because you can't express yourself in the way you want to. It took about 3 solid months of just immersion and constantly listening and meeting Japanese friends and just forcing myself to listen and forcing myself to respond in Japanese, that I was finally able to have some sort of fluency, or is what they call pera pera. And I truly believe that immersion is the best way to learn a second language, and I would highly, highly recommend that you learn some of the language before going to Japan. At least have some sort of, even if it's not through schooling, at least do some sort of self-study so you have some basis to go upon once you arrive there. And continue to work through communicating once you're living there. Do not go back into the habit of just hanging out with all the other gaijins around you and speak English or whatever your native language is. Speak the language of the country. So yes, it was hard to communicate, but I managed within about 6 months. At the 6-month period, I'd say I was pretty conversationally fluent, and I still am. Yay! Next question. Did you struggle with finding work? Finding work was easier than communicating. I actually signed with at least a dozen freelance agencies, and I because I researched them beforehand, as mentioned. And I basically landed my first TV job within 10 days of signing with my first agency in Japan. You go through lulls of absolutely no auditions, and that happens. It happens even in Vancouver. You just have to go with the flow. And I had a lot of great opportunities, and I was able to go on TV and music videos and voiceover work, and lots of opportunities presented themselves to me, and I was lucky enough to get those jobs. But it's not enough to pay all the bills all the time. So I would take up private jobs. Like, I worked at an English cafe, I worked at a bar, I did just random odds and jobs, daycare, babysitting, private tutoring, whatever you feel most comfortable doing, or even not comfortable doing, try it. Like, you never know what you're gonna find once you're living in Japan. If the modeling, acting industry is what you're interested in, I highly recommend trying. The worst you can do is just try. Luck happens, I guess it's luck, but it all depends on your drive and your passion. Don't give up. Don't give up. No matter what happens, don't give up. If there's any questions or any information that I haven't answered or talked about, feel free to ask them and leave them in the comments below. And hopefully we can do this into a part 2, depending how many comments we get, and I can answer the questions in part 2. Hopefully I was able to shed some light on the industry, the modeling industry in Vancouver versus Japan. So I hope I helped some of you. So to all you future models, actors, artists, good luck, keep trying, and even when someone tells you you're evil, know in your heart that you're not evil, and someone loves you. Keep going forward. This industry can be very cutthroat and ruthless, but it's all about individual strength. So keep trying, and good luck. Love you.